Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Pursuit. This is episode number 6, and got a returning guest. We shot one of these 3 years ago, maybe. And he's in a completely different position today. This is the director and CEO of Killshot Media, Lucas Hicks. We
There you
have
go.
known each other now, coming on, Lucas, filling the gap, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years.
Coming up on 7.
7
7 years.
years. Wow. See, I said 5 because time
Dude,
flies
that's
when
all
you're having fun.
college. That's all high school and college, almost.
That's crazy.
Like
Yeah.
when you get out of college, you're like, man, my best friend back in freshman year of high school.
He's
Like
a
that's
he's
how
a new
long.
dad now.
hmm
He's got a son that's 1 year old,
Yeah,
almost
16
one and
months.
a half, and he has, another son on the
Yeah,
way. Coming when?
coming in February. Valentine's Day, baby.
Wow, coming fast. So,
Yeah,
gonna be a father of 2, is a CEO, and he's a director. And January 17th.
January 17th.
His first feature film will be released at the Terra Theater here in Atlanta. Tickets are now on sale, and what a journey we've had. I would love you to go back and watch the previous episode and
Yeah,
just see where he is now. He's
dude.
grown so much over the last
Look,
few years, and we're kind of gonna go back a little bit and get to know where he's come from.
this
But yeah,
is
last
this
episode was
was
crazy.
this is what we did is we drank storytelling wine
And we got to
and we
know
talked about
about Luke.
story.
Yeah. So I do want to go back like this is the first one, right? But first of all, I'll just get comfy with my
Dang.
Killshot Media tank top on.
Woo.
How long's Killshot Media been around now?
We started in 2018.
2018.
Um,
And today I'm getting my first kill. Well, actually, I'm not lying. This is my second. But let's say this is the first time Killshot Media has had merch. So it
yeah.
will be
Let me
available
see.
for sale
Can I see
soon.
the back?
No, not right
Okay,
now.
all good.
But you'll be able to see them. They're coming soon. You'll be able to buy one soon. So let's get into it, dude. Killshot Media has been
Yeah,
around how long?
yeah. Uh, 6 years.
6 years.
We started, yeah, about a year after our friendship. You were pushing me. I was doing weddings
Mm-hmm.
during that time, and I think through business coaching, really helping me pursue my dreams. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah, so this is where we started.
Yeah.
When I first met Lucas, he was shooting weddings. Um, Lucas Hicks, video and photography. You could hire him to come and shoot your wedding. I think prices started at around $1,000 a wedding.
Yeah, I started at 1,500 a wedding.
Mm-hmm. And then
When
went
I
all the way
first
up to
got
about
started,
3. Yeah.
yeah, to about 3 grand. Yep, that was the highest in package, and gosh, man, I was doing way too much work for $3,000. I look
You
back at
were
it.
you were booked out though, right? You were doing almost a wedding every weekend.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, there were a few weekends where I would do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday wedding. I mean, 3 back to back.
Wow.
Um, and the weddings were not an issue of booking. It was just an issue of me growing so much as a person and a filmmaker and not feeling like I was actually going out and pursuing my dreams and what I really felt called to, which was telling stories. Not saying that there can't be a story within a wedding or bashing people who do that, but it just wasn't in my long-term plan of really where I wanted to go.
Yeah, but when you first started out, you were loving it, right? I mean, you were
Of
what,
course.
20, 23, 24?
No, dude, I was 20 when I was shooting weddings. I was shooting weddings in college.
Yeah.
In
20?
fact, I was working for another production company and it was a DJ company, and he started selling. He's oh, sorry.
And this is why you enjoyed it. You got free food, free
Yeah,
drink, you were
yeah, but
free friends,
uh,
you dancing with everybody,
I
having a
was
good old time.
I was DJing for this company, and I opened up the video side of the company to doing weddings for them. And
Mhm,
he was paying me $200 to cut a wedding video for him, and I think he was selling it for like $500.
mm,
And as a college kid, in a single day to go on the weekends and make $200 was
mhm.
killer,
Yeah.
you know. And so I just kind of took that and ran with it right out of college. And I mean, never had I mean, did a couple of other smaller things on the side, but never really worked for anyone but myself during that time.
And then that's kinda where you got the love for being your own boss, right? Like, doing your
Absolutely.
own
Yeah,
thing, understanding that you and a camera can go and make yourself a living, right?
absolutely.
But if we
Yeah.
do go back, like, the dream for Lucas Hicks was not to be behind the camera at first, right? The dream for Lucas Hicks was to be the guy in front of the camera. And
Yeah.
looking at your IMDb, you've got a decent resume there, right? Like, you've been in some good stuff and you pursued acting for still to this day, you have an agent, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to him yesterday because he's going to be coming to my premiere.
Mhm.
All three of them, um, all three of my agents are coming to my premiere. But yeah, it's kind of wild. I mean, my journey and everything that I did, I didn't realize was actually like helping me into where I'm at now. Because through me pursuing acting, I was pursuing that really hard. I mean, yeah, putting myself up in hotels or Airbnbs to act in, thesis films for like SCAD, just to get experience and all of that. And what was really cool about all of this was I didn't know, but it just helped me be a really awesome director, because now I know how to talk to talent. I understand what it feels like to be in front of the camera. I've taken those acting lessons, and it's just really helped me navigate how to direct, my on person talent on screen. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
and
looking at this, dude, I mean, you've been your first episode was in this on IMDb was in 2014. It's 2024 coming up to 2025. You got a 10-year acting career there, right?
yeah,
That, you were chasing that for a long time. And then as you get to more recent, you've had some big things, Ozarks, Miss Pat show.
mm,
So it's
yeah,
it all adds up to where you are now, right?
that's
Like
right, man.
when I look back over that, I think back to when we first met. You were pursuing acting. You had Lucas Hicks, video and photography, and you were doing weddings. And you're still chasing acting pretty hard at that point. Like that's 7 years ago,
Oh
right?
yeah,
And you
100%.
haven't really like given up on that. Like if something great came along, you'd happily jump back in front of the camera.
Absolutely. Oh,
But
I love it. I love
there's
being in
no
front of the
more
camera.
student films or there's no more, like, uh, come and do one line in LA for you have to make your own way there, right? Like now you running a
Never. No,
business. And I still
that's right.
remember we sat down in the coffee shop. We'd only known each other a couple of weeks. And we had the conversation where it was, hey, like you're doing this for weddings. You're really good at it. Um, you understand film, you understand movie, you're in acting, you get it. It's time to go tell stories for people that want to pay you,
Yep.
right? Like,
100%.
let's switch to businesses and you go start telling business stories. And let's be honest, it started with mine, right? I was kind of the first business that you took on.
100%, dude. And I mean, we shot a video this week for
Yeah.
Oxford.
I
Um,
mean, how
they're,
many
they're
videos have
my
we
favorite
shot?
client.
How many videos have we shot?
If you put everything together, you'd probably be watching for 24 hours
Mhm.
out of the content. Like you,
Yeah.
you could probably sit down and play video. And I'm not just saying like a rolling camera. I'm talking like edited footage that's like cool and fun to watch,
Yeah.
you
7
know,
years, sometimes 1 or 2 videos a week, we're talking,
for
right? Like,
sure. Oh
we've
my goodness.
pumped out some content, and all that has led to you building your confidence, building your understanding of, like, what businesses are looking for, and, like, understanding stories even more, right? Like, you were already a little bit of a storyteller, but over the past 7 years, as we got into, like, building story brands and stuff like that, like, we together and, like, me just watching you working with businesses, like, you've explored story on such a deeper level to get you to this point where you've shot your first feature film.
Absolutely. And I would even take it, I would say the depth of story is actually systems. Um, I think that to tell a good story, you have to have a good system of how you're going to tell that story. And if you look at, the reason and the way that Killshot Media has grown and, not only survived the pandemic, but we came out of the pandemic thriving too. And even this year, I mean, we've already landed, 4 or 5 videos coming up in the next year that we're going to be doing. But it all comes down to the process and the systems that we've created in order to do that. And it's the same thing with story. You have to think, okay, what is, what is my arc? What is my story arc? And you have to follow kind of that structure. And obviously you can navigate and do whatever you want with it, but that's a good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like there's a structure to it. And so I think even from the backbone of story is I've started to understand structure a lot more within
Mhm.
within not only story but my business.
Right, and you'll be able to tell your business's story better, which then
Correct.
also, like, when I look at the dream for you was, a movie star, right? Like, I'm gonna be a movie star, right? Like, Lucas was born to do that. Like, you told me a story yesterday of when you would go sit down at a restaurant and order water, and you would just to make everyone else around the table feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
you would, you would say, "Go ahead."
They call me Fish Man because I drink a lot of water. Uh, Bring it on the tap because I want to save a dollar.
Exactly, and you just said it just to get a reaction, right? Like,
Oh, of course. Yeah, everyone would.
you've been
They would go, don't do the water thing. I'm
yeah,
like, I'm doing the water thing.
yeah,
And
just to be the
now
star
I
of the
feel like
show.
I gotta do it when we go out to eat next time.
That's amazing. And then the reality of not becoming the movie star and understanding
Mhm.
that, like, where your skill is not telling the story by being on the screen, but by telling the story by being behind the camera or
Yeah,
writing the story and finding that different love. Um,
yeah,
Obviously there's some pain that comes with that, right? Like it's not just, oh, uh throw me behind the camera. Like you just like me, I wanted to go to the NBA. Then I realized that okay, that's not gonna happen. Let me pay myself to be a professional athlete. You kind of had the same journey with that stuff, right?
yeah. Absolutely, man. It's interesting to look back on everything because I think one of the one of the big things that changes too is just maturity. I mean, it sounds kind of wild, but the older that you get, you start to settle in of what your true goals in life are. When you're young, it's hard to tell what those things are because you know being the life of the party or really wanting to like make this impression. I want to make sure that everyone knows who I am, that they see this and everything. And as you get older, you kind of start to, I guess, get a little bit more mature and see that the world doesn't revolve around you, and so it doesn't really matter if you have all of these accolades. It's like my goals in life now is, I really want to honor God. I want to stay connected to the Lord. I want to love my wife and my sons, and then I want to make movies.
Mm,
Um, and at the end of the day, if you look at those things, it's not as centric upon me. But
yeah.
when you're young, you think, oh man, I want everyone to look at me and go, dude, Lucas was in this TV show. He's in this movie. And when you kind of take a step back from that, you go, I don't know if like as much as I do love acting and being in front of the camera and all of this, am I actually doing it because it's genuinely my passion, or like, is this actually kind of maybe fueled by a little bit of immaturity and not exactly me coming to terms with what I truly want out of life?
Yeah, that's good. I think what I see is, like you said, I wanted all these things as an athlete because I wanted external validation, right? Like
Hmm.
you wanted all them things as an actor, as a movie star, whatever it is, to get that external validation that like you are who you say you are, right? And it's all external and it's all extrinsic and it's all extrinsic motivation even. But then when you look at where your real talent lies and where your real passion is, my passion was for training hard, working hard, and then helping other people be successful. So if I break it down into them three core skills of what makes me who I am, it's obviously I'm a coach. That's who I am, right? Like I wasn't meant to be the player. I wasn't meant to be the star athlete. Like, and that's somebody else's decision, right?
That's right.
Like for you, like you're probably a really good actor. You worked really hard. You learned every position on set and got a good understanding of how this thing's being made. Some people will just show up and act, right? And why
Correct.
they're so good is because that's all they do. Whereas I would go to games and I'd watch the coach, I'd watch the referees, I'd watch, like, I'd try and understand everything about the game, not just come in relaxed, late, throw my shoes on and shoot as many and just hope one goes in. Like when I see the guys that were great at basketball, they were so relaxed about everything else. The only thing that mattered was showing up and just being great. The great
Right.
actors, the only thing they do is show up and be like, I'm the man, I'm going to act. But
Right.
your skill set didn't lie in that. It lied in being hardworking, understanding, and wanting to know how the story is. You took on almost too much, but that's then what allows you to take them skills behind the camera, right?
It kind of hit me. Um, it kind of hit me hard when um, this is kind of a crazy story that happened to me, but um, I actually pitched for a job as my film company.
Mhm.
I didn't get it. Um, about a month later, I got an audition that came through for me to act in the commercial that I was pitching for,
Mm.
and I was like, "This is not." I sat there and was thinking to myself, it you know before any of this, obviously I would never even have the opportunity to film this commercial because I wasn't in that place, but it really solidified kind of where I'm at in life right now, which is I'm sitting there and I almost felt insulted that I was getting an audition to
Yeah.
make the commercial that I was qualified to make.
I should be
And it
shooting.
was just yeah, it was just really weird. It was like,
And let's talk about like how much if you don't mind, like you don't have to put numbers on it, but give me like what you would have been paid to shoot it and then like
oh,
say
I mean,
like
the project was
10
over.
times
It was
what would what
over 100K
and what
commercial.
would you have been paid to act in it?
I think it was either it was a full buyout, probably $400 to $500. So I mean, we're looking at let's add a couple of zeros on that. That's what I would rather be taking home to make this,
Mhm.
not or at least my company, but not
Yeah.
not
But that's the difference, right? Like that's the growth that you've had over the last few years, just there in numbers. Like if you write them
mhm.
numbers down, the $400-500 to go and act for a day, or the $100,000 to shoot the commercial, right? Like that is the level of growth that only comes from you accepting the reality that's hard to accept that we see. Like I still see 38, 39-year-old rookies trying to play basketball professionally, right? Struggling to survive, working jobs that they hate, to try and get that shot at being a professional athlete, right? For
Yeah.
you, you see it like you go on set, you see extras that have been doing it 20 years just thinking their shot's going to come. But
That's right.
what makes watching your growth so great is you've accepted, like, I don't need someone else to give me a shot. I'm going to build this. I know that I work hard. I know that I'm good at this. I
Mhm.
know that I've got it in me. So I'm going to build this thing. And
So
you taking that internal and intrinsic drive that you always had, but just not waiting for your shot.
that's right. That's exactly right. And I've said this before, and it's kind of, there's kind of two paths that you can go, right? Um, Number one, right? Like I could have got into film, right? Worked as an AD, um, made a good name for myself, done really well, worked under some other directors, and finally, like, got maybe an opportunity that someone else is giving me to direct something, right?
Mhm.
Um, or what you can do is not wait for that opportunity, not let it be in someone else's hands, and you can create those opportunities for yourself. Um, Now, with that, there's going to be the hills and valleys, and it's going to be really tough. And you have to. It's not for everyone, right? Like not all aces are spades.
Mhm.
Um, it's not for everyone. I would actually suggest if you don't, either you have it because you've always been this way, you can't conjure up that skill set of saying, I'm going to make something happen for myself. Um, I mean, I'm up, I start work at 8 a.m.
Well,
Um,
how do you think
but
you knew that you like what evidence did you have that you could grow Killshot Media? Like you already had some evidence,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's again, yeah, it's creating the ladder or climbing it.
Mhm.
I'm creating the ladder. You're
But you
creating the
already
ladder.
like I look back and I wonder why I thought I could start a business. But then I look back to being 12 and 13 and walking around the neighborhood with a bucket and a sponge and washing people's cars
Oh
so that
yeah,
I can buy a ticket to go watch the professional basketball team, right?
yeah.
So
I'm
like
going
I'm
around.
like, "Oh, I've got it. I've got that entrepreneurial spirit because I had it when I wasn't afraid to go and knock on someone's door, asking for money, do
That's
a
right.
job to pay for the life that I want."
Yeah, I mean, I'm selling Sally Foster as a kid, going door to door. Me and my brother, what he's a salesman, like that's his thing. For me, it was more about the win. For him, it was how many can I sell?
Mhm,
And my dad used to make us, he would say, Lucas, you can get the right half of the street. Micah, you can take the left.
mhm,
Because if not, Micah would get out, go sell everything else, and then I'm riding my bike a mile
mhm.
to try and hit some houses because I'm in competition with my brother or
Yeah.
vice versa. But I would say I don't think it really actually hit me that I was an entrepreneur and stuff. Even when I was shooting weddings, I would call myself an independent contractor.
Mhm,
You know, I didn't realize that no one taught me you need to create these systems. You need to, like, this is how to sell weddings and all of this. I just kind of started doing it. And I look back and I'm like, man, I could have done it so much better. But I did have a system of how I would take brides out to coffee. I'd
mhm.
ask them these 9 questions and then, you know, tell them this is how we're going to film your wedding and all of this and stuff. But, you know, I don't even think it was until I met you, and I started maturing in all of this that you were saying, no, like you have what it takes to be your own independent, start your own business and grow it, and like I said, I think that there's a difference in being really, really hardworking.
Mhm.
Um, but again, I mean, you can be the hardest working person and make the best burgers, and you can be the guy at McDonald's who everyone is like, man, I love it when he works here because he just crushes it.
Yeah.
But the thing is like hard work is not enough. It's also wisdom and using that hard work and putting it at other places and figuring it out of saying, what does it actually take for me then to own McDonald's, not work in McDonald's? But a lot of people that are really hardworking will stay in that one bubble and never start thinking outside of the box of, well, how can I, start my own burger restaurant?
Hmm.
What would that look like? I know I can make these burgers better than anyone else can. What would it look like for me to do my own thing a little bit, and how could I grow this? But that's a different person than just a hard worker.
Well, that's a good point because I think the thing that comes down to is fear, right?
Mhm.
Um, it was very easy to work with you as a business coach because I could look at what you've already done. You've already built a business. You're already good at sales. I just had to hold like a good coach will just hold a mirror up for you to see it, right? Like all I did was show you like this is what you've built, this is how much you're making. Um, if you wanted to just switch over and start bidding for bigger projects, you have all them skills already. You've just got to start believing in it, and you've just got to face the fear that you might fail at
Mhm.
it, right?
Absolutely,
Um,
man.
and the thing that makes it easy for me and you to work together, and the reason that I talked to my business coach the other day, and I said I really enjoy working with business owners, but I don't know if I can only work with athletes. Um,
Yeah.
And you're kind of an example of that. Like you don't have like you've played every sport, which you'll tell me, but you don't have like a specific. You were a entrepreneur, movie maker, right? Filmmaker,
Yeah, that's right.
and I can only kind of relate to you, I think, because you wanted to be the star, like you wanted to be the movie star, you wanted to be the actor, and you've learned to face some of them fears of going for auditions and putting yourself out there. Just like
Yeah.
I faced fears of getting on this basketball court at 5'9", going against NBA guys, we've both learned that we should have been more fearless when we were doing it. Right. We
100%.
both learned that the thing that held us both back was not believing in ourselves quite enough. Like the fact that I could step on that court, I couldn't fail at that point. So I should have shot every ball that touched my hands. The fact that you could walk into some of these auditions for these movies that most people would book and probably just not show up to because it's pretty intimidating. You
Mhm.
should have walked into that audition room and just let it all like mess it up, go hard because you're not going to get it
Yeah.
anyway. You're not going to get
Right.
the movie anyway. No NBA team signing me. I'm 5'9" from England.
Uh,
Like they could find me by walking down the street. So just
take
go
that
out
half court shot, son.
and just have 50 points and just look at them and be like, you're not going to sign me, but I had 50. Or I
Yeah.
shot 38 shots and missed every one. You weren't going to sign me either way. So just go,
Dude,
right?
it really is interesting. I mean, we both have very parallel stories in that because we also didn't. I didn't start Killshot Media because I want to be a business owner and a CEO and grow this empire of a production company. I started Killshot Media because I want to direct. I want to direct film. To be honest with you, like that's what gives me life, not sitting behind a computer and meeting with clients all day. That's not ultimately what I want to do. I want to be directing film. But how do I do that? I'm creating my own ladder,
Right.
right? So creating my own ladder to the point where I made my own movie. I made my own movie because I put in the work within Killshot Media for me to fund that, have the gear for it, and do it. And it's kind of the same with you, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
you don't want to pay me to be a professional athlete. I'm gonna build this business. I'm gonna pay myself to be a professional athlete, right? And I'm gonna
and you're
work out
doing
twice a day.
these DECA comps right now. You're expanding. You're doing different things. It's the same thing. It's you know, let's let's dip our toes in over here. Oh, okay. It's not working. All right. Let's go over here. Let's try this. Let's try this. Because if you just stay in this one lane, like if I just stayed in the one lane of acting
Mhm.
and It's out of my control. I never make it. Let's say I book a couple of more TV shows, book one bigger role on this. It doesn't, like, what am I doing with my life
Mhm.
too? Like at that point, I mean, for those people that satisfies them and they feel this is exactly, their calling and they're happy with that, that's fine. But for me, it just, there was something more. There is something more.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
I get excited about my future. Like I don't think about my future and go, where am I going? Like what am I doing? I have so many more ideas and bigger plans. And I think that it's just a testament to like what I was saying, which is not only going after your dreams, but making it happen for yourself, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that me and you now work together and like push each other on is not doing that same thing again now, right? Like not dipping our toes half in. So
Yeah.
not saying like I'm going to make the same mistake I made with basketball. You're not going to make the same mistake you made with acting, right? Like with Killshot Media and with you making a feature film, you're going all in because
Oh, of
the
course.
only regret you have from acting, just like the only regret I have from basketball, is not shooting every ball, not
Yeah.
shooting every shot. Every shot you had to make a movie, they should have remembered you when you walked out. But all they remembered was that kid was a little nervous.
Well, I should have shot a movie 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, I should have shot a movie 5 years. Well, I mean, granted, I did make shorts that were all me doing that and stuff, but
No,
I
that's
should have
good.
just,
That's good
I
though,
should have just went all
because
out and been like, let me just make a terrible movie. But
yeah,
I was so consumed with it being perfect and all of this and stuff that even with Chasing June, this new film, I look at it and there's so many different things I wish I could have done and mistakes I made on the film. There are things I wish I could have made better, but it doesn't matter. Those were all lessons to teach me for the next one, and I want to go bigger on the next one.
yeah.
And I
But
think
let's
the
jump back to Killshot Media though, because that's I think that's important. What you just said was like you should have made something earlier. Like you have been making that stuff, right? Like
yeah,
that is what you have been doing by not letting fear stop you, by not just like you were in such a comfort zone with the weddings, like to close down a business where you're making like 9 grand a weekend sometimes to take a chance and go back and film some of my stuff for free and start working with other businesses for free to do that and to have that
yeah,
little fear is the story of Killshot Media. Like when I look at it now and I look at, you know, Killshot Media, cinematic storytelling, it's corporate video production, commercials, kind of music videos, film. Um,
yeah.
and then like the best thing that I look at, like I don't care about your website except from when I stop here, right?
Hmm.
Like if you let fear stop you and comfort stop you and not knowing that like no I want to be a director and I want to build my own ladder, which is a great way that you put it. Nike, Dre Beats, CBS, State Farm, Microsoft, Facebook, Red Bull, Remax, Shell, Riot Games, it just doesn't happen,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
you look like most people will look at this and go 7 years down the line, wow, like look at what he's done. But
Yeah.
we both know that's not the reality of what's happened. It's been up, down, a pandemic,
Dude.
all that
Yeah.
stuff. Even like 2 months ago, like you're crushing it right now. But I talked to you 2 months ago, you were worried. Oh, not enough stuff's coming in. Now
That's
too much
what you're
stuff's
doing.
coming in,
Yeah,
you know?
it's dude, it's wild, and I get asked a lot. I think one of the most immature things that it's not immature, it is immature, but one question I get asked often is, how do you land those clients?
Right.
How do you get that?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, do you want me
No,
to
it's do you
tell
want the
you?
truth? Do you want the
No, no,
truth?
but
Because if you
also
want the truth, it's 7 years
that
of
okay. That's what I'm saying. Is I go, you
100
can't.
no's a week.
I can't tell you what I've done for 7 years in a answer. You want me to say, oh, here's the list. Here's a piece of paper that has the contact emails of these people. They
Here's
they
Cynthia.
love
Here's
they,
Cynthia at Nike. She loves talking to random
they
people
love
about their
random
video.
people that don't have anything, or maybe they have a website and a cool demo reel. She would love to just book you on this. No,
No,
dude,
but
it
like
doesn't
let's
work like
let's keep it real. Like how if I'm you, if I'm someone who wants what you've just built, what we just looked at, 7 years, if you were telling me the real on how to do that, like it honestly starts with you're gonna have to find 5 businesses in your local area and you're gonna have to film for free for 6 months potentially because you don't have anything.
that, dude.
And I already had weddings. I already had a
And
catalog. I already had experience, and I was willing to walk into these restaurants and these businesses and my local gym, and I just shot stuff for
dude,
free, or for
and
ten
and
bucks, or for a
and
free
here's the
meal.
thing though. It's like then you have to build your systems and figure that out because you're not going to get on a call with Nike and you're just going to go, so how much do you have to make a video? Because I can probably do it for whatever you want to pay. Like people don't understand that, like they not only do they not know how to charge for stuff, they don't even know how to walk their client through what they're gonna get. Like
Yeah,
they just
but give me start from there. Start from the 7 years ago. Like what it does take. Like give me the
exact
understanding.
dude,
Like
literally exactly what you said. It's starting from ground zero, and
it's a video for a review, right? Give me a 5-star review, and I'll shoot you a $10,000 video for free.
yes, yes, it really is, man. I mean, you're not just gonna start landing, you know, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 videos just by having a website and showing some cool videos. It really is you figuring out how to work with clients, how to navigate, and clients want you to be in control. They're calling you because they have a problem that they want it solved. You don't look at them and say, well, how do you want it solved? And then I can probably do it. They just call you and they go, I need a video. I had a meeting yesterday. They were really indecisive in how many deliverables do they want and how long is the video. They're like, we don't know. I go, no problem, let me hear more of your vision and I'm going to build you some packages based around that vision that you're describing, and then I give them the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at them. They're not sitting there going, clients will be like, oh, we want a 5-minute highlight video. And I go, okay, well, listen, I can do that for sure. But why do you need it 5 minutes? Most people don't even ask that question. I go, let's figure out the goals and what you really want your audience. If it's B2B, B2C, who is your target audience? What are you trying to convey to them? And let's work backwards instead of just saying, you know, like what's the end goal, and then we have to work backwards to find that. But again,
But in that is like you said, it's 7 years of
it's
messing
7
that
years of
up,
figuring that out.
of
It's
messing that up,
it's
of
of
losing
yeah,
projects, of bidding on
losing
things and
projects,
people saying no.
never sending out proposals, and just
Let's say
giving them
in
a price.
7
And
years, let's say in 7 years, right? You've had, let's say, a project a month. So let's say 120 yeses, right? How many no's have you had in that same time?
dude,
And not even no's, no
ghost,
response.
yeah, no responses. Yeah, I mean that's a huge thing too, which I've actually implemented last year. How to navigate that. We don't do no responses anymore.
Mhm.
Not with clients. Nope. There's a follow-up call that is put on the calendar at the end of our discovery call.
Give me a number.
Dude,
120, 120
I would
yeses.
say I would say 15 to 20% yeses out of every no.
So
So if I pitch for 5 videos, maybe I'll land one, depending on the season. That's why I'm pitching videos
let's say
you
at
know?
best 15%. We'll even bring it down to like 10 to 12%. So 120. So like 1,200 no's for every 120 yeses.
Yeah. I mean, for every client that I pitch to, they have their own folder. They have like all the notes, the proposals, contracts, everything I've done for them. I've had to start splitting my folders per year because I have them categorized because I have too many clients in a folder and um, I can't even keep up with it, and I look through them and I'm like, man, I didn't land any of these sometimes,
Yeah.
and then some of them I'm like, dude, this is the fourth project I've worked on with them. We're filming next year. This is a repetitive client. They've been
Cash
awesome.
Cash asked you a question. What do you think your time or money invested on each bid would be?
Yeah. So it takes me around a full work day and it depends on the project, but takes me around a full work day, not only to do the discovery call, but then to really think through, how best to approach this project, because I can't put a number out there to a client without understanding the scope of work. Because you might put a number out there and it's, you know, too low, and then you end up doing 3 times the amount of work because you didn't spend, ample amount of time actually really quantifying how much time and energy this one project is going to cost.
Yeah.
And I've made that mistake. I make that mistake on 1 or 2 projects still a year. You just get a client and it's just the demand and everything. And so I'm still growing and working on those systems to mitigate that.
It's cool, dude, when I look back now, because I think the theme around this episode of talking to you now and putting all this stuff together over the last 7 years is don't wait for somebody else to say yes.
That's right.
Right? And I think we are educated. We're in a system where we're waiting for someone else's approval, right? Social media is all other people's approval. Like, do I put this video out? Do I post this podcast? Do I do this? What will other people think, right? But the thing that we've both learned through experience, through acting, through sports, through then starting our own business, is just not waiting for someone else to give you that shot, right? And then that is the last 7 years of lessons that's brought you to deciding to invest your life savings, having already made short films and done well, and already working for, God, when we look, like you've probably been behind the camera for 15 years to this point, to still not then waiting for someone else to make your movie.
Sure. Yeah.
And
that's it, dude.
here we are 2 months away from your premiere.
Mm-hmm.
And you've shot a feature film.
The wildest thing, and we can end on this, and but the craziest thing is there's not one person, not one, that looked at me and said, "Go make a movie, Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
You need to go make a movie.
Please
Invest all
make
of this
one for us."
money. Spend
Yeah.
2 years of your life almost every day working on this.
Mm-hmm.
Go, you gotta do." No, literally no one, not
Well,
a
even
single
now,
person.
let's be honest. How many people, now that you've done it, give a shit that you've done it?
Elise, my wife, my beautiful, amazing wife, is just like, "I'm so proud of you" and stuff. My parents, maybe, you, no one cares, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one cares. No one cares that you did it. But I didn't. This making this film is not me just making a movie and then I'm done. That was awesome. That was so fun. No, making this film is still, I'm not at the top of the ladder. I'm climbing it. This is still part of my plan to grow myself as a filmmaker and director. So I easily would say, like, it's not for everyone, but people that are on the fence that have been, you know, wanting to dip their toes in to making their dreams or pursuing their own investment or whatever that looks like, instead of dip your toes, just go all out, make it happen. And it's ugly and brutal. And you have to count the risk. You have to count the cost and say, am I willing to do things for free and build this from the ground up? And, I don't know what that looks like for everyone. They might not have the financial resources, or what, you might be 50 with a family and all of that. But if you really want it, I do believe that you can make it happen.
Well, and also the thing that you've alluded to this whole time is, go all in, take the risk, do what you need to do to make it happen. But the risk never stops. So, like,
yes,
this film,
exactly.
You're inviting all your friends and family to it. It might bomb. People might hate it. That doesn't matter. The only thing that matters about this film is that you did it. You invested in yourself. You took that chance. You decided that you weren't going to wait for someone else to tell you that you had approval to do it. It was you going back to all the lessons you've learned over the last 7 years and going all out. And this film is you going all out. And whatever happens from it, happens from it. But there's going to be no regret. There's going to be no looking back and be like, I wish I invested more, or I wish I worked harder on it, or I wish I actually shot it about something that I wanted to shoot it about. I actually only did it because I thought other people would like it. This is your movie that you've shot, that you love, that is for you, that is you going all in. And if other people hate it, that's their problem.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do anything that you care about anybody else's approval on this. This is yours.
That's
and
right.
You might only ever make one, but there's no 22-year-old Lucas that cared about what people think. This is it.
This is it, man. And I think you nailed it. It's like, there is a lot of vulnerability in putting yourself out there and trying things. You're all like, if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
Someone's gonna hate it.
Someone's gonna hate it. Not only are they gonna hate it, they're gonna be like, what an idiot for putting all this money towards a movie that sucks. And they're gonna judge me for it, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. You just, like, in my opinion, I'm like, I don't think you get it, and I'm gonna disagree with you, but that's okay. You're entitled to that opinion, and good for you.
And if you've made a movie, and you can send me the link to your movie, and you've hired out a movie theater, and you've put in $50,000 of your own money, then I'll listen to your opinion.
Exactly.
Until that time, it's just an opinion, and everybody's got one of them. But if you've got a movie that you shot, hey, I will actually accept your opinion, and I'll accept your 1-star review, and I will thank you for it because it'll help me get better next time. Now, Billy Nobody that's never shot anything, doesn't own a camera, your 1-star review is fine. It doesn't mean anything.
Thank you.
But that's the growth, right? That's the going all out. That's the going all in. That's the pursuit. That's what this podcast's about. The pursuit of happiness. The pursuit is happiness. Now we got to the end of this movie. Now we're at the end of this podcast. There's no happiness in the end result. There's no happiness. Even Lucas has finished this film after 2 years. There's no happiness. The only happiness is that he fucking went for it, that he put his money into it, that he rented all these places, that he hired all these actors. That's the only happiness. And that shit was hard, but he'll do it again. This is not the end. No. And dude, we're wrapping up, but the ticket, I pinned it to the comments.
Thanks, Keith.
I'll put it in the link. If you want to support a local artist, then go get a ticket. $10.
That's right. Cool. Love you, my boy.
Thank you,
Appreciate
dude.
you, dog.
Sharon and Chasing June. Come in January 17th to the Terra Theater in Buckhead, is it?
Yep. Let's go. Gonna
There
be
it is.
fun.
Go get it.
All
All
right.
right, dude.